right, welcome to Pass the Mic. It is Friday, March 27th, 2026. Congratulations, episode 200. We made it.
200, baby. We did it.
Take that,
Hey,
Alan Park duo.
so this is going to be fun. Do you have anything special planned for 212, episode 212?
Yeah, definitely. Of course, we're going to have something for 212.
What is the importance of 212? Just kidding. Okay.
Okay, feedback and errors. First of all, we got to give do I call him your
My stepdad, Ken.
stepdad, your stepdad. His idea for overrated and underrated spawned some of our most passionate and big time feedback.
Yeah.
Music, man, music. People are passionate about music.
Sure.
We got into the Ren Dog had our huge text early
Yeah.
in the morning last Friday. Of course, I was getting, let's get rid of the elephant in the room. I was thrown under the bus immediately for my hip hop knowledge by multiple people.
You totally dropped the ball on that.
Yes. But multiple people. Killing Me Softly by the Fugees, right, was the big song that everyone was talking about, right? Like
Yes.
Roberta Flack, but then Tony Saavedra, Coach Tony, did a little research, little chat GPT research, and said that it was originally by Lori Lieberman.
Right.
Maybe married to Joe Lieberman?
I wouldn't think so. Joe Lieberman's since passed on, right?
I believe so. I don't think his ex-wife, his widow, is the. So Roberta Flack. So I think there's a lot of talk there. Like some people like the Fugees version better. Some like Roberta. I don't know Lori Lieberman's version. I don't have a horse in that race. I like both of them. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
And let's see. We also had Jill Burguy. She prefers the Luke Combs fast car. Another one, same one. I like both. I'm walking a thin line. And then Denise Browning brought up the Michigan Murders book. She was thinking it before I even said it. Thinking about and again, the same sort of thing, locations and that sort of thing. And then she lists some great books. By the way, since we're on video, shout out to Dr. Rice. Look at these great shirts. Maddie Tolstica sent a video of it, so my wife even saw it before I could even show it off. They made a beautiful showcase too to celebrate our 200th episode.
Did you actually see it? Have you seen it?
I got to get down there. We're going down tomorrow. We're going to take a picture in front of it.
Yeah.
And we'll post it for our listeners. But Dr. Rice, shout out. And I'll talk more about that in our overrated, underrated. But it's a great shirt. And then on the back of mine, it's a picture of me with Michael Jackson. You familiar with Michael Jackson?
I am.
Okay.
Again, somebody that's not with us anymore. The other part about that is for me, the back of my shirt is me shaking hands with Michael Jordan.
I know. So, it's like you're doing better with peace than President Trump and Iran currently. I don't think you can bring gas prices down with that treaty, but at least you can bury the hatchet with Michael Jordan in a shirt.
Interesting week, yes. To say the least. Yeah, Tony kind of educated us on that. We had the Pates that really jumped on. Casey and
Lots
JoJo.
Of people.
Yes. Casey and JoJo did If You Think You're Lonely Now better than Bobby Womack's. Chris agreed. I got to agree with Elizabeth Pate on this one, too. She asked the question, which My Way do we like better, Elvis or Sinatra? I was much more Sinatra on that one.
Yeah.
The other thing, the Pates brought this up, and I got to say, I really missed the ball on this one. Casey and JoJo, well, Jodeci, but it was just those two at the time, remade Stevie Wonder's Lately. And I know my mom's listening now. I'd like to know which one she thinks would be better. To me, it's Casey and JoJo, and I'm a big Stevie Wonder fan. My mom, that's probably her all-time favorite musician. But I think that Casey and JoJo nailed that one. Every grunt, every crowd, because they did it live. I have it all memorized. I've liked it since 10th grade. It's just an outstanding song. Let me give a shout out. Gary Bailey. He hasn't really commented much lately, but he did comment this time. Some of the things he's reading. He's currently reading Caesar: The Civil War by Mr. Caesar, by Julius Caesar, translated by J.R.
Also no longer with us. Yeah. March 15th was just.
Yeah, he's since passed on. That was funny. Man, you're on a roll today. Recent The Widow by Grisham, The Iliad by Homer, On Deck Why We Love Baseball. So On Deck Why We Love Baseball, you see what he did there? That's pretty creative by him.
Opening day we're recording this on opening day. Paul Skeens got rocked a little bit and Scooble did not.
Yeah.
So I guess Kent Sikora has already proclaimed that there's going to be a parade down Woodward.
Sikora will love your. Oh, first, well, I'll get to Sikora in a minute. He'll love your Van Halen take. Max actually likes Smooth Criminal remake. Whitney's version is amazing. He agreed with me on that. Surprised you guys didn't mention Africa. Weezer did a really good one
I
Now,
prefer Toto.
yes, I actually prefer Weezer on that one. He talked about the Webster episode that we had talked about. I preemptively apologized to
Oh,
Big
Mr.
Ken on that
Coach
one.
Sikora.
So
Yes.
Coach
Another peace
Sikora.
treaty.
So Coach Sikora is not a meathead for those of you listening. He's a very intelligent guy.
Sensitive guy, kind.
Did you say sensitive?
Yeah.
Mr. Sensitive. Yeah, but yeah, I was so that was what? That was Charles Barkley called Shaq Mr. Sensitive. That was a funny episode. Peyote, yeah, there you go. You get blasted for Mob Deep. Did you mention Limp Bizkit behind Blue Eyes covered the Who awful? That was
I'm
Ren Dog's
sure
take.
Olympus. I don't even need to hear it. And I like the original.
Yeah, the Ren Dog gave us way too much here. Underrated. He's got 5 though. Santana, Black Magic Woman covered Fleetwood
Oh,
Macs. Eric Clapton, I Shot the Sheriff covered by Bob Marley. Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble Voodoo Child. Wait a minute. By Jimi Hendrix. Los Lobos, La Bamba covered by Richie Valens, and then again, Killing Me Softly comes up again. Trying to what is this? Man, I have too many things here. These are all out of order. So yeah, back to I was way out of line though with the Ken Sikora thing. In all sincerity, I apologize to him. I preemptively did. I didn't think. I certainly didn't mean anything by it, but it certainly came out wrong. So, and Kent has since threatened me, so I had to apologize.
this isn't going very well. This is going as well as President Trump's peace treaty.
All right, again, I sincerely, Kent, I do apologize. No buts after that.
Okay.
Okay,
Anything else?
I think that's it. We
There's
got
a
a lot
lot. We
on the
had a lot. The
list.
music, your stepdad knocked it out of hit a home run. We're
Yeah,
gonna
what
use
was
opening day
interesting is
analogies.
he sent that to me and he said I got a bunch for you and I'm still waiting for the bunch. So
Well, we'll put them on the payroll when possible. We're getting
yeah.
closer. We're getting closer. Another producer. Ready for my mic of the week? So I Googled Mike and 200. And you know what the first thing that comes up is with that?
Hmm.
We've already picked this Mike, but it's Michael Johnson, the track athlete, because he had that awesome 200-meter dash in the
Okay.
Olympics. You
I
know what
was
I'm
wondering
saying?
where
So
that was going.
that's what came up. So I'm like, so we already used him. I'm not using him. I don't want the rules committee to get on me. But because there is a swimmer by the name of Michael Andrew who really was big in the 2020 Olympics, not Michael Phelps, Michael Andrew. He must have done good at one point in the 200-meter individual medley. So Michael Andrew, U.S. Olympian, 26 years of age, 6 foot 6 inches, and pretty good swimmer. Not Michael Phelps level, obviously, because I'm sure you haven't heard of Michael Andrew till
I have
today.
not. No.
But if you type Michael and 200, 98% of them are Michael Johnson. But if you scroll far enough, you'll find Michael Andrew. And
Got it.
to commemorate our 200th episode that we are here, so we had to find something. We should have maybe saved Michael Johnson.
Yeah, that's all right.
Not
We
to
did
speak.
make the rule that we could do it twice. We could do somebody although
Well, we're
not
going to get
us.
there
Yes.
eventually, right? Like, I mean, we're getting older. Our memory's not so good, and people will call us on the air. Guests can repeat people all they want.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
So, all right, education topic. So, first of all, that's a good point. We're throwing out all the rules for episode 200, by the way.
Yeah.
So don't even correct us with an error. We're doing whatever we want today.
Rules
This
are out
is
the window, so Max is gonna hate this episode.
this is our day. Dr. Rice got us the shirts, so we're celebrating. But our topics are somewhat the overrated, underrated. There might be a little overlap, and even the education topic there might be, but it's new. It's new to you. All right. Education topic. We did in the past about a dream guest episode, right?
Yeah.
Like we did. Like who would we want to be our dream guest? Living or I think we even said living or no longer living. Well, I'm bringing that back a little bit, but we're doing a little different today. Okay. So those of you that are listening, this is actually a request for guests. So we're saying that we each get to pick 2 realistic guests, people that we think we could somehow get on, even if it's like a 3% chance. All right.
Sure.
But some of these people are not 3%ers. They're people that so if you hear your name and you're interested, reach out to our production team, which is Mike and I right now. Don't reach out to Mike's stepdad. And we want to get you onto an episode. Okay. So 2 realistic, and then 1 dream guest or pair of guests. Who are your 2 real guests that you're inviting on to pass the mic right now?
Okay, so the first shout out to Todd Bailey for this.
Okay.
Todd has said this, so I think we should reach out to the commish, if you will, the superintendent Amy Conway. I think
Okay.
she'd be an interesting guest for people to hear.
I think she would be on board with that.
My
She
second
saw the
one,
shirts.
yeah, there you go. The second one, now this one might sound a little bit out of reach, but I've actually had contact with this person's people, so to speak. It's a senator from Michigan by the name of Mallory McMorrow.
And
She
isn't she running
represents.
for U.S. Senate? Or am I
I believe
wrong?
she's no. I believe she's going to. I believe that's the plan.
She's in the
She's
primary.
yes. Now she made a big name for herself that about 3 years ago when a Republican congressperson said she was grooming kindergartners and teaching them. So grooming and teaching them to uh, hate themselves, and said she's blaming 8-year-olds for slavery. And whatever the politics aside, Mallory Morrow gives a speech that was absolutely outstanding. It was authentic. And, we talk, there's a member of, Joe Harris works with us, and he and I probably don't agree on 95% of things, but we get along. And one of the things we talk about is the authenticity of politicians or lack thereof. And there's certainly plenty of that, and this was a moment of just true raw emotion that came out in the speech. Uh, I immediately sent it to my daughters because I want them to find their voice, so to speak, where it matters and not in matters of, trivial drama that, high school kids tend to get caught up in. And so I immediately sent that, and I was in contact with her before, the her people, and they did say last year if I got a hold of her this year she would speak to my classroom. I'm not comfortable with it anymore. The politics of 26 makes it even more uncomfortable than even in 2025, so I want no part of that. But I think she would be a realistic guest, just judging by how her people immediately responded to me, thanked me, said she was a little too caught. I got a hold of her sometime in May, and they said her schedule was a little bit too busy, but please reach out to her next year. And I just decided it's not a good idea. But as easy as it was to reach out to her, I think we could get her on the show. So that's my second one.
Very good. I think she's pretty busy right now. They're in the
Sure.
heat of that primary, and it's a three-way race if I'm not mistaken. Two,
We'll
there's
get the crack staff on that. But
well,
yeah.
Haley Stevens, who's a congresswoman, is running, and then there's another state senator, I believe, that's running. I'm not up to date on it. All right, so my two, and my first one borders on. We're sort of similar here. One of them I think is a like 99%er we can get on, which I equate to you. You said the commissioner, Amy
Sure.
Conway, and then my other one is like I haven't reached out to this person, but I'd put yours a little above mine. I might make you angry with this person too. All right, my my real one, and I want to invite Mackenzie Harris, who is freshly in the classroom. We're talking weeks in, and I would
Okay.
love to know. We've had like younger teachers, right? Like younger, but nobody in those first weeks or month of working. And she's like us, or like me, I'm sorry, went to Carlson, coached a little bit before, has been around a little bit, but is back working in the district, teaching middle school to start. That's sort of what I did. I start, she has she has like 1 hour of high school too, former student council member. I don't want to overwhelm her because I can only imagine how hard this is. Coming in mid-year is always hard. We've talked about this, but I would just like to know someone that's a first month person. What's it really like? How do you feel prepared from where you went to school? I think she was Eastern Michigan. I might be
Yeah, she
wrong.
was. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. And, where we went. So I think Mackenzie, I'd like to have her on. If she's not, if things aren't, she has coached the basketball season. She's on part of your staff, right? Like your
Hmm.
guys'
Yeah.
staff. So
Right.
all right. You ready for my next one? Ready
Sure.
to make a peace treaty? I would really like to invite Mayor Mike Duggan on, former Mayor Mike Duggan on.
Really.
I would. I would like to have him on. I mean, he's been saying some interesting things. His polling numbers are getting up there, so there's obvious this isn't like a long shot. This is going to be a big deal. He's angered the Democratic Party. He's angered the Republican Party. The Republican parties all call him. Both sides are basically calling him phony, right?
Hmm.
And I don't know. Maybe with the name, even maybe he can come back. Maybe he can pin his picture back on the wall if you feel comfortable enough with that. So, and
Okay.
again, I put him at like a 8 or 9%er, but somewhat realistic. I think
Yeah.
like if we
Okay.
send an email and, you know, so like with him, he doesn't have to worry about a primary, right?
Yeah, and Mike, I think Mackenzie, I think that's a great idea. A few other ideas that I've heard, Deontay
Okay.
had suggested. This is shout out to him. He had suggested before bringing our kids on. You and I have talked about that. That's
Yeah.
not a. We can make that happen. I don't think that'll be
Yep.
that difficult. So, I thought that was a good one. I did look it up. She is currently running. I deleted, but the polling numbers are really interesting. Mike Duggan, I don't know though, Mike. Man, I when it comes, our profession, we're going to be talking about this in a couple minutes here. I really think that going after I'd like, you know what? I would like to ask, why is it
Wouldn't you
so
love to
easy?
interview them? Why?
I would.
Yeah.
I would like to interview
You know
any
what?
politician about
You know
that.
what my first question might be, and I hate this to be my well. First of all, I'd like welcome them and thank them, and our first question obviously be, what would you have for dinner if it was
Yeah.
your birthday? But my first question in the heart of the interview would be like, what would Wayne County Commissioner McNamara think of what's going on right now with you? I mean, and for those of you that don't know Michigan politics or Southeast Michigan politics, Commissioner McNamara, Wayne County Commissioner. I mean, when you think of Democrat,
Yeah. That's right.
blue blood Democrat, I mean, the airport terminal is named after him. And listen, you almost throw back to like old Chicago politics. I'm sure wheels were greased and this sort of thing. But I mean, I could only imagine what Commissioner McNamara would think.
I guess for me, it's just when politicians come after teachers. I left today and spoke to one of our colleagues, and what this person has gone through in the last couple of months, just the amount of effort and dedication and blood, sweat, and tears people put into this, it just frustrates me so much. I would have a hard time not making it personal because I feel like this is so personal. And I know the reason why. It's because parents are voters and you can't call out individual voters like you can this entity that is, blanketly called teachers or some police officers or whomever. So I think it's easy, but it really frustrates me. So that's why I would have a hard time with it.
Yeah, it would be interesting. I'll send the email. Never know. Maybe you'll say
Okay.
yes. All
Yeah.
right. So now for your dream interviews.
I have a feeling you and I are going to have the same one.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
I really wrestled with this. I started with athletes because I thought that would be the easiest and at least controversial, so to speak. We try to stay somewhat nonpartisan here. I think it comes out of us every now and again. Barry Sanders came to mind instantly because to me, I've never enjoyed watching a professional athlete in any sport more than him. Isaiah Thomas, my all-time favorite athlete, he came to my mind. A few others, but I rounded out and I thought it through, and just the person I am and the person I would love to speak to would be Barack Obama. So it would, in so many ways, I think about, you know, watching our old principal Bill Stevenson talk, and I always could see John F. Kennedy in him. In the way he spoke, you could see he was trying to emulate the speeches of Kennedy in his own unique way. And no joke, Mike, there's a lot of people in my life I've tried to or wished I could be like in certain ways. The way Barack Obama speaks and can capture a room and can motivate and things like that, I've never heard a person better. I would just be, it would be the greatest honor ever to be able to speak to him.
You're probably right thinking that's who mine would have been. But I took more of a present time of like wanting to be more in the moment, whereas Obama you could do at any point. And so because this, and we've joked a little bit about the goings on with Iran, but what's really annoying me right now is this shutdown and these poor TSA workers that have an awful job to begin with. It's one of the most awful travel times of the year. Could you, and we have, like we said, could you imagine being to work now 3, 4 weeks, not only going to work, but not getting paid?
No, I couldn't.
Insulting. You deal with the public, you know. So I would really, if I could have Hakeem Jeffries and John Thune on, Senate Majority Leader John Thune,
Okay.
and House Minority. And the reason I picked those two, I can't stand the other two at all. I think I could talk to John Thune and Hakeem Jeffries in the room. I couldn't deal with Schumer and Weasley Mike Johns. To me,
I agree.
like Jeffries and Thune, I think those two need to get together and sort of work out a
Yeah.
solution to this. And I think they could without the other two. You know what I mean? Like I think the
Yeah.
other two are just out for themselves. And will it happen? No. And I just feel awful for these people. I feel awful. I don't feel awful for I hate to say this. I mean, I'm not traveling anymore. I don't really feel that awful for the traveler because you shouldn't have an attitude with these people. These poor people aren't getting paid.
No.
I don't feel awful for airport CEOs, airline CEOs. I feel awful for those TSA workers. And so,
Hmm.
and then it would extend beyond the shutdown. I would speak to, we talk to these guys and be like, listen, what about just some general things that we always say that these are what's good for the country. You know what I mean? Like, why can't, like, when you say like a lot of these things, they're throwing around voter ID, right? And they say like this much percent agrees with voter ID and this and that. Like, we've talked about this before on the show, right? Like, okay, if all these people agree with it, make the law and then establish and give every voter an ID that's legal in there.
And Mike, it's funny.
The federal government sends it out in the mail.
On Bill Maher recently, gosh, I am getting so old. He worked under Obama. He was on with the woman from Colorado. Dear Lord, I'm getting old. You know her.
Bob
She's
Bobert, Lauren
Boebert.
Bobert,
Yes, and the guy you know too, and I know, and I'm the fact that I can't.
Harville.
No,
No,
somebody almost as popular though, but
okay,
he's been on for a long time. Is on CNN now, CNN contributor. But anyway, he's the Grand Bargain, and the Grand Bargain was exactly what you and I have come up with. This
yeah.
is what we should do. This, if voter ID is that important, and even though 34 states have it,
Give it a year to set up. Like you
yes,
can't get this on the books for the midterms. Give it a year from this year's midterms and say, okay, if you're a registered voter, we're going to reach out to you, verify who you are, and send you this federal card.
yeah,
You swipe the card.
and make Election Day a holiday so we get more voters. You've talked
Yep.
about expanding the voting week.
If you
Let's
lose the ID or don't have it, you become a
yes,
provisional ballot, and it may not count, but that's be
this is it.
responsible.
Yeah, and it really does seem pretty obvious how to solve this
Don't
one.
like throw in things about trans athletes and like I, in needing a and I don't know the full, but like it's not hard. Just make it very simple, and then the federal government provides the identification. The federal government has gotten much better with passports. Like it used to
Yeah,
be so annoying, and now they're much so like we can do this, but they don't want to do it. They just want to pass the
no,
bill and not provide it, or they want you to do it all on your own. And I don't necessarily think that they always say, and I'm not going to, but they're like, oh, this is going to hurt Democrats.
yeah,
Democrats have. I don't know about that. Like you might be disenfranchising a lot of your own voters.
yeah.
Based on
Statistically,
the
this is
data from the last
mentioned.
election.
The people with passports tend to lean Democrat more, so that might be yes. The idea that you're just eliminating one group of people is kind of off here.
No, but you are disenfranchised. Like we should not be sitting there celebrating disenfranchising anyone that's a
Yeah,
legal
correct.
voter. I don't know why
Right,
we'd be celebrating that. It's
right.
ridiculous. Okay, I think those are some great guests. I did just want to slide into Mike Tomlin. Invite's always there because you were the
Yeah.
first. You were the first invite. All right, overrated, underrated. I said elements of the past 200 episodes. Elements of that's something a guest has done, something we've done, some element part of the show. Whatever you want to be. What do you have as overrated?
Overrated. This one was easy. I've taken some heat for this. My unwillingness is going to shot on me. My unwillingness to really put myself out there politically. This is probably the most. This episode's probably the most I've
Oh
ever
yeah, look at
done.
that. What a change.
But yeah, in this case, I didn't mention Obama's politics, and even Mallory McMorrow. It was an unprovoked attack, and nobody on either side of the aisle would have agreed with that attack. You call somebody a groomer without any sort of evidence and say that they're making people
Yeah.
feel guilty or something. That's just ridiculous, and I don't think anybody would disagree with that. So, but yeah, I know that annoys people. The Pades have gotten on me quite a bit about it, so that is overrated.
Well, good. Hopefully this episode opened that door a little bit. Mine, I mentioned this to you earlier today. We frequently, we frequently mentioned in the episode 2 episodes ago, have been pretty hard on Dr. Rice.
Yeah,
All right. And Dr. Rice really only mentioned like one time in passing that we should be careful. And it wasn't even like a threat, I don't say. He's just like, don't monetize the episodes if you're using school equipment, just in passing. We turned that into a long running bit through 196 episodes about of always calling him out anytime we thought we'd get an ad or a sponsor or whatever. And in reality, he was never on our backs about that. And he was actually very good on the show. And since being on the show, I mean, even before the show, he bought us the card game, right?
yeah.
The overrated, underrated card game, which has been a
He's
great
becoming a
part of the
huge
show.
fan. He's a fan.
He came on the show, was very good, I thought, and then since being on the show, made a whole showcase for us, made us our first pass the mic merch besides the mugs, which we made ourselves. Tom Pack already reached out. He's like, I heard we got uniforms coming. Tom's ready to Tom's ready to clock in like it's Walmart. Um,
Yeah,
so that's my overrated dogging on Dr. Rice. It was more of a running joke, and now the cat's out of the bag. He never really was on our case that much. It was just a funny thing to do.
yeah, yeah.
So
I mean, I think he said it more than once, but overall, I get your
yeah,
point
but I
is
mean, it was never
exactly
like
right.
he was never like listening to episodes for ads to like
Sure.
email them to Amy Conway. Like I
Taking
don't think
notes, just like note taking, like Tom Pack.
yes, exactly. So all right, underrated. What's your underrated element of the past 199 episodes?
Second shout out to Todd Bailey. He had mentioned this before. I think that we give the listener quite a bit to go on with what goes on in schools. And so for that, I'm very proud because I do think that the average person really believes they know a lot about schools because they went to them, but I don't think the average person knows the ins and outs. Obviously, you went when you were a kid, you weren't paying attention to a lot of things, and so I think that I am proud that we've done that. We've given people a glimpse into the classrooms. Todd had mentioned that before, so Todd, I'm using yours. That's my underrated.
Man, Todd getting a lot of shout outs today. My underrated sort of ties into that. I love the start of every episode, and I love prior to the start of every episode, fans reaching out to us and letting us know their thoughts. I love that we make that as part of the first episode. I love a text from the Ren Dog at sometimes
Yeah,
12:45,
12:45
12:50
a.m. Yeah,
a.m. on a Friday. Elizabeth on her ride into work, if she's working, or ride home, depending on her shift, Elizabeth Pate. I love that. And then also texts like from Elizabeth and Joe Burgai about just laughing out loud during the episodes, or like the Tony episode, famous when the relationship advice episode came on and Patricia was in the car. And you know, I love hearing that stuff. I don't think we ever overshare. I think and Max is always old faithful, old reliable. Like every morning at about six
yeah,
fifteen,
yep. We
the
know when it's
string of
coming.
texts
Yep,
coming in. We
string
don't
of
even have to
text. Yep,
reply sometime. If I'm tired or if I don't have, he'll just keep coming
right.
with them and coming with them, knowing that we're taking them all in. So I like the fact that we allow that our fans actually do interact and have thoughts on it. And it's and I want to throw as a little side, point two, point or point B or point B. The great, and we praised it many times, but I still want to go back to Gary Bailey's wife, who had us for that demonstration at the church in the summer. That was probably one of the coolest
That was.
parts
That
of doing the
was.
show, and I still thought that was really cool. And they're so welcoming, and it was really cool to help people and do that sort of thing. So
So, if I may do so, then should we start calling overrated, underrated? This is becoming more like and unlike, right? In a
no,
lot
I
of
mean
ways.
today was, but I think for the most part, like the games, like when we do the game or when we do,
Yeah, true.
you know,
I think it could be a little bit, but I understand what you're saying. But sometimes I
because
feel like
remember,
that's the direction it goes.
overrated is not bad.
Overrated is not bad. Maybe
So
that's another one. Maybe that's another over. We haven't said that one in a while though. But
no, but
yeah,
that's how I've reined that back in. So all right, hot mic take. You want to hype this up?
yeah. So we are again. We're going ruleless here,
Yep.
right? And we're total anarchy. So we are going to do a hot mic take together.
Our
There
first
we
ever
go.
joint hot mic take. But I think
Joint hot mic.
this pulls in a lot of stuff we've been talking about. So
Melania
you all right?
Melania Trump came out yesterday with the so the first lady. There's this. I'm sorry, Mike. I screwed it up. I
That's
mean,
you're fine. Go ahead.
this is real too. But the first lady came out with a robot.
Yes, I couldn't tell I couldn't tell them apart. Which one was? They're both so stiff and awkward. Boom, boom.
And
There it is. We couldn't even get the joke.
I blew it. We
Yeah.
okay. So we did talk about this
Well,
though.
here's the bad news now. When this gets out and we both pass away before the Donald, his tweets about us are not going to be very friendly. I'm glad those two
We
guys are worst podcast ever. I'm glad those two guys are dead.
terrible podcaster. What did Sakura text us the other day? He did a really good job of that.
Yeah,
But anyway,
worst
we're
podcasters ever.
overrated and something like that. But anyway, so she talked about AI, like AI robots actually educating kids.
And
And
and like from what I read and looked at, it was like almost like one on one,
yeah, at their houses.
like the
They go to their
Jetsons
house.
robot, right?
Rosie. Yeah.
Rosie, yeah.
So go ahead. What was your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts of that first are, and I know this is going to be crazy, that Trump's the Trump's not realizing how the rest of the country lives. How expensive this robot going to be?
Yeah,
How
let's go.
expensive is this Android going to be?
Well, the thing could go.
I
Yeah,
got
it
people that
go.
can't. We got people that can't fill up a tank of gas, but they're gonna. I guess
I mean,
they get a voucher from the state. You get like what 13,000 per kid? Maybe that would pay for the Android.
that thing could go. It could be multiple places at once, right? Is this? I don't know how it would
Could
live
you
in
imagine
Zooms.
an Android in front of 21st graders?
I'm trying to find Kent. No, I can't. I'm trying to find Kent's text because it was really funny. But anyway, go ahead.
I have seen some stories too. What's interesting on my X feed, there are schools that are opening up with, they are all AI schools and they have like room monitors. All right. You want to talk about, could you imagine that job? So you're not getting paid a teacher's salary. So you're just sitting there doing the worst parts of education, right? Just
Yeah,
monitoring a room, keeping everything.
right.
here's a great gig for you in the AI world. No, we're not. We don't need your intelligence. We don't need you teaching. We'll pay you $20 an hour. Can you just take care of like all the behavior, the kids whose stuff is broken, the kids that are sleeping at their Chromebook? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Sign me up.
Here's Kent's text, by the way. Failing low ratings. So that was so.
So
Anyway,
he can help the president compose that his it's called a truth, right? Truth. So
yeah,
that's where
Truth
he,
Social.
yeah.
So, but he's still posting on X, right? Or are those
I
all
don't.
just
I'm
Truth
not sure.
Social?
I just know when Robert Mueller passed away, I think it was a Truth Social post. So
Yeah, I
that's
think you're
where
right.
his celebratory death
Yeah. So
things take place.
Kent, I'm sorry, I'm still on Kent here. So Melania said, and it would free up more time for kids. So I guess there's going to be less education time now to go out and play and hang out with other kids. And like, man, how can you
Did you see
be?
that thing walking?
Yeah,
Two plus two equals four. Oh wait,
but
that
I
was the first.
can't, I
Never mind.
can't like, I can't even conceptualize the fact that okay, you think kids are gonna this is gonna be their opportunity now to go. First off, you're cutting in their education time. Is that the plan?
Yes.
And because this robot's gonna the kids can't listen to humans, but they're gonna listen to this robot,
And
and they're gonna go out and
social
exercise
skills
them.
are going so well right now.
Yeah,
They're going to
so
be
they're gonna.
out of the park.
I could not believe that that was her and again, it would be great if kids actually did that, but that's not what kids do. And introducing new technologies seems to be counterproductive right now, educationally speaking. So
And
there's
this is
that
why I
aspect of
think,
it.
and here's the one we talk about things. We talked about getting Thune and Jeffries together. The one thing our country seems to agree a lot on, there's a lot of skepticism from the non-tech sectors
Yeah,
about AI, both Republican and Democrat.
right,
And we've talked about this before, and there's no denying that it's part of this world, and our heads aren't in the sand. But at the same point, there's a lot of skepticism, and I think it's because of stuff like this gets rolled out. I
right.
mean, I don't, and maybe, and like I said, in 300-400 years, long after we're gone, and the president has posted a truth social about us being the worst podcasters ever. Looking back, there might be people listening to this and laughing, boy, those guys were dumb. And meanwhile, there's like nobody's working. Everyone just has this great
Right.
life. Robots are raising kids, and and we won't be around to see it. That's fine. I'll be, wherever the spirit is. By the way, I donated blood at a Catholic church today during Lent. That's like triple points.
So let me way to go. So let me ask you this: like, there's the old, there was Ted Kennedy was quoting when Robert Kennedy was assassinated. Some men see things as they are and say why. I dream things that never were and say why not. Right. And so is that like you're speaking of this futuristic society? I don't know how is that better though? I mean, I don't think that's what Robert Kennedy and I forgot who the original quote is attributed to, but Robert Kennedy said it. I don't think that's what he was referring to in making the world a better
I don't know.
place.
I don't want a place with less human interaction. I don't want a place
Right.
where I don't. When I watch those movies, those like futuristic movies, like I don't want anything. It doesn't
Right.
seem
I don't know
appealing
why
to
we're
me.
aspiring to this. Right. It's really odd to me that that's
But I mean,
kind
there
of the
could be a day, like I mean, where there's, I mean, not to sound gruesome or because of what happened in LaGuardia was awful, but like if those things were all being done by automated, if it was an
right.
automated fire truck going, it probably doesn't cross that runway, right? Like it probably doesn't. Like it's like
Right.
there's code written or something, but there
Sure.
was human error involved, and I
Hmm.
don't know. But but the point of the matter is too is like, are there certain things that you want human in there? And this is where it all is right now because you hear something different every week. This is the big problem. You hear
Yeah.
something different every week. Someone says this, someone says that, but just seeing like I would I would not want my grandkids taught by some android. I guess
Agreed.
is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't. I'd rather have it with a human that even makes a mistake here or there, or maybe isn't the best instructor in the world that has every bit of knowledge, but but it's a human and can express feeling. That's where I am. So crazy.
Yeah.
What will be the job of teachers? I guess those roommates. That will you be able to smack kids with a ruler? Will like everything come full circle? And you got to oil the robot.
So,
Sweet, sweet.
hey, if the robot screws up, will the parents call the school to complain about the
Yeah.
robot, and will they be calling a robot? Will they be speaking to a
Oh
robot
yeah,
about a different
yeah. And
robot?
then like what happens? They're like, hey, this robot screwed up, and they're like, oh, don't worry, we yanked his tenure, his memory card, or like once you get tenure, the memory card's locked, like it can't be removed.
Yeah, how's that gonna work?
I don't know. I guess
Okay.
maybe we'll ask Mike Duggan if he comes on what his
Yeah, perfect.
thoughts are on that. All right, I say we still not pick the tournament games. Both Michigan and Michigan State have made it. We haven't picked any individual games. Let's not jinx any of their paths because the only way they would play each other is in the championship.
Correct. So that's fine. Let
But
me
which
go
one,
back. Go ahead.
if I had to bet the house on which one will be in the championship game, it's Michigan. That's my thought. So
I would agree. I think Michigan's path too. I mean, I'm not dismissing Alabama. Certainly, they one of those teams that just shoots a lot of threes, and that's always a scary game. So I certainly would acknowledge that, but I think Michigan does have an easier path. Michigan State, UConn should be a good game. Let me ask you this: should I share what I've learned about the Boston Strangler and tying it to your book that you mentioned a week ago? I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show, or should I hold off on that till?
hold off on that for another week. I think.
Okay,
I think this is a good
really interesting.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, those true books. And are you going to read? Do you want me to give you a copy of that In Cold Blood before you go on your trip?
Absolutely, absolutely,
All right, it's
yes.
right in the back room. We'll get it. We'll check that. I'll check it out, Dr. Rice. It'll be all above the board.
Okay,
Wait, that's overrated. I'm done doing that. So,
yeah, you can't
well,
do that
hey,
anymore.
we are not going to do an episode next week. It's spring break. I don't want to have Mike having to worry about recording an episode. I might be at the golf course. Who knows? It might be open. So, we're going to take a week off. We're letting everyone know that now. Ren Dog, Elizabeth Pate. So, no, that would be Good Friday too. We're taking Good Friday off.
Hmm.
And, we're going to get some perch and just relax and have a nice Good Friday. So, so I hope everyone enjoys their spring break. Safe travels. Be kind if you're flying to those TSA agents. Pack your patience. I know these are all things you hear on the news, but anything you want to say is before we head off to break?
Yeah, we could say Happy Easter as well, right?
Yes.
So happy Easter to everybody. I appreciate, the dozens of listeners we have, tens of listeners. We appreciate you all,
The
and
numbers
this
are
has been
higher than
fun.
that. The higher
They
and
are.
they're growing. They're growing. Like you said, they got
I got another like today on Spotify, or follow on Spotify.
a student congratulated me. He goes, "Hey, congratulations on episode 200." It was during lunch, and I go, don't, "We haven't done it yet." It was like the kiss of death. So then
Oh
what
yeah,
happens? We were supposed to record after school in the studio. I get a call.
yeah,
My wife's like, "You got to take the dog to the vet." So we're
yeah.
rushing to get this in here on Thursday evening. So, but we
Right,
did it. We
right.
hit 200. Take that, Allen Park duo. Take that, Warrior Way. I think they're on episode 4. I'm not sure.
4 minutes.
All right, everybody, have a safe spring break. Safe travels to all the Carlson students that are traveling and staff, our friends and colleagues that are traveling. And we will see you in 2 weeks.